Welcome to Boom Bap Nation Live Interactive Series here on Facebook. I'm your host, the infamous Amadeuz. Well, it was called Boom Bap Nation Live Interactive Series before, but now we have switched it to my FM radio show, The Inphamus Hour, every single Thursday here at 9 p.m. on Facebook.com. And, of course, Roku or Rokio, however you pronounce it. We have been bringing a live interactive series to the good folks and good citizens of Boom Bap Nation. We'll bring legendary acts. And to this point, we've kind of been in the rap lane, but I want to make it my business to bring the R&B side. And what way to start it off with one of the most legendary groups from the 90s and the 2000s and still here today. 112 is here. Peace and blessings, brothers.
Peace and blessings, my brother. Thank you for the intro, bro. You got one of the illest voices in radio, bro. Like, let me just say that.
Wow. Thank you. You know, one of the things that annoys me, they say I sound like Jadakiss all the time. Like, it's annoying.
That's spot on.
No, it doesn't matter where I go. It doesn't matter who I talk to. It doesn't matter. Like, they're just like, you sound like this guy. I'm like, I sound like myself, right? Like, fellas, amazing catalog that we have to this time. And before the pandemic, we were kind of seeing this thing on social media about like reviving R&B in a sense where the soulful sound is not here anymore. I mean, what is your take on this? I mean, we do have some R&B guys who are out. We have the Chris Browns of the world. We have Trey Songz. We have some guys, but I think people are missing that soulful sound and music that gave you that feeling. Where do we stand with this?
Well, we didn't believe in that. We didn't believe that R&B was dead or R&B was like I could see where the soulful aspect of it is missing, but you got to think about what's going on in radio. Like they're not playing soulful records. The soulful records are out there. You got the Music Soul Child, you got the Lettuces, you have you have a plethora of artists that were still doing it, but if they're not quote unquote current, then it's like it's a moot point or whatever. So while we do believe that music is cyclical and eventually the soulfulness will come back around, right now the radio world dictates that the music sounds more along the lines of a Chris Brown, a Trey Songz, August Alsina, what I mean? So it's along those lines or whatever, man. But R&B is still here, man. You know what I mean? A lot of these genres are now with even the white folk genre is based off of R&B. So it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way as well. Slim, now obviously the R&B sound has changed a lot in this time. The 808s are more prevalent. It's more bass driven. How do we navigate with creating new music in this sound? Or are we kind of doing that? Because we have this dope record that we were talking about before. And that record, it's a powerful like Black Lives Matter song. And but the feel is like, I mean, y'all took me back to 96 when I was in high school, chilling on the block and, listening to Hot 97 and Power 105.1 and hearing a 112 record. So what was the concept behind creating that type of record in this type of climate?
Well, we just felt like it was necessary. Like, I mean, after us chasing the charts and, accomplishing a lot of things, 112, like, responsible for over 28 million records. So, like, now it's like the necessary records. We gotta do things for the culture. So instead of just complaining with like what the younger artists are doing, we kind of got to show them through actual music, listening to exactly where they're getting their feels from. Now, we hear a lot of people saying, yo, we want to emulate the 90s. We want to emulate that sound. Mm-hmm. We want that spirit. Well, a lot of times, we sit back and we look at it. All of us, we do that. You know what I'm saying? Like DJs, everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like we'll sit there, we'll be like, I don't know how we're gonna mix this in, or how we gonna adapt to this or whatever. Well, we just felt like it was necessary. Let's drop some records that everybody knew 112 for. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes artists of our age in our era usually kind of confides in what's going on. They try to be trendy instead of, knowing exactly, put 10 toes down on what you stand for. And now we can add sprinkles of what's going on, but this is what's needed right now. And I'm just glad that we're getting the feedback that we're getting right now.
Mike and Slim, question for both of you guys. It kind of feels like as a DJ and as a radio personality, I feel like artists now are not expressing themselves on records. They're not expressing themselves to the time. It's almost like, every song just relays one emotion, the turn up. In your opinion, why do you think this is? Why do you think artists are seems like a little afraid to be more personable on the record. And this is not only R&B, this is hip hop. I mean, this is across the board. Why do you think we have this type of artist in 2020?
Well, it's two reasons. In my opinion, one is supply and demand. You know, it's basically, you know, what the record label and what the industry is dictating. You know, people nowadays, they get enough of your personal on social media. You know what I mean? Like they get your social media, they get your Instagrams, your Facebooks, and all this other stuff. Like we know what, you know, for the most part, we know what a person is doing, you know, because they put their whole life on social media for us to, you know, to criticize, critique, you know, ridicule, and, you know, do it. And honestly, as an artist, you know, when you create a record, you're showing your vulnerable side, your vulnerable, your insecurities and things of this nature, man. And if you're getting that on this side from your music, and then you're also getting beat up from being on social media, and if you mess around and just trip over something, you know, it's a 24-hour cycle where people are making memes about you, talking about you, you know what I'm saying all this crazy stuff about you, man. And honestly, on the psychological tip, there's no refuge for that. You know what I mean? It's like if you're putting your soul out on these records, and you're putting your soul out on social media and stuff, and you know, it's the job that you chose, it's the profession that you chose. However, there is no reprieve from that. And as a result, mentally, you're just fatigued, man. And so some of that stuff, you just want to, hey man, listen, I'm gonna give you this social media aspect of it, but I'm gonna chill out on the record aspect of it. You know, because I don't feel like, because music is so sensitive, you know, it's such a sensitive subject to artists. And if you come in and you critiquing, you know, my music just because, you know, you don't like me or something like that, or I did something on social media, you know, it kind of hurts, you know what I mean? And it kind of makes you feel some kind of way, you know what I'm saying, about your music. So, you know, I can see how artists are a little standoffish when it comes to, you know, giving of themselves musically or social media wise or whatever, because it's like too many avenues for people to just zero in on you and just ridicule you, man. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can really, you know, come up with as far as like why they're not showing themselves or whatever, man. I think it's a safeguard. I think it's a wall that, you know, has to be a proverbial wall that has to come up.
That's crazy too, because I had a conversation with a younger artist like a couple of days ago, and I basically told him, like, look, the artists of this generation, it like has pretty much the same concept, you know what I'm saying? Like the ones that are very successful, mm-hmm. The one don't give a rat's ass, they don't give a shit. Like they not looking at the next man. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to put themselves on. So like look like it's so crazy because you have rappers that are more emotional than the R&B artists. Like look at Drake. He sits on top of the mountain. He don't care what you say about him. Matter of fact, he would encourage the memes. You feel what I'm saying? Like there are certain artists that just do not care. And those are the trendsetters. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, it's the same mind frame that like we had when we were out. You know what I'm saying? Like for 112, we never, like, if you notice, like none of our records sound like anybody else's records. Matter of fact, our records didn't sound like the next single.
No, it didn't.
You know what I'm saying?
No, sound like no.
And none of them. Only you didn't sound like Cupid. Cupid don't sound like Come See Me. That one don't sound like Anywhere. That one sound like Peaches and Cream or Dance With Me or It's Over Now. Or none of them records sound the same. And you know, it's like when everybody stop looking at what the next man is doing and let's copy off of what this man's doing because it's working for him. Guess what? You're not the next man. You are you. Be the best you can be. You know what I'm saying? So I would say that to any artist that's out there. Don't be afraid to fail too. Like, so what? Man, so what? Especially in this day and age, 112, we couldn't say that. Because you know what I'm saying? You probably had 1 or 2 shots. And then you know what I'm saying? And then the next album, you might come out about 2 or 3 years later. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Well, now you can put out your stuff yourself. You control everything. You could drop a record every 3-4 months. Word to my homeboy, Eric Bellinger. Man, he can drop 3 albums and you know what I'm saying? 3 or 4 albums in a year.
Independent.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying, like, I mean, I look at any artist and just, you know what I'm saying, just tell them, hey, just be the best you can be. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Just put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to fail.
Coming from a space where artists would drop an album every 2 years, every year and a half, sometimes 3 years. Are we comfortable with this new workload, that this new supply and demand, and also the more direct to consumer, where it's like, you guys can go in the studio right after this interview and create a record and put it out tomorrow. Is this the more comfortable way of doing things?
It is, man. And I'll tell you why, because when we signed with Puffy, that was the mindset that he had. You know what I'm saying? It was always, what's the new thing? Like, don't just rely on your past successes. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, we invented the remix. I mean, proverbial. Not really, but we invented the remix. Boom. All right, what's the new thing? You know what I mean? And then after we mastered that, it's on to the new thing. It's on to the new. That was the mindset that we had over at Bad Boy, man, and we just carried that over. So yes, we would absolutely be in a safe spot, in a comfortable zone, whatever you want to, call it, as far as like the way that this music was. And that's the reason why we created this EP in such a short amount of time, man, because once we finally got our mind wrapped around doing the EP, it only took us about 2 to 3 months to do, because we knew what direction we were going in, and we knew that in this world that you're in now, content is everything. You know what I mean? And just staying relevant means that you have to be in, however it is that you're in the public eye, you have to be in the public eye. That means social media. If you're a social media darling, you know what I mean? And people are just gravitating towards you because you're on Instagram just showing people what you ate today, then that's one thing. If you're somebody who, whose fame comes from the music aspect of it, you just keep supplying music. So whatever that niche is, man, like that's, but we absolutely would be comfortable in this world where, if we need to put out something every 3 to 6 months. We can do that easy. That's easy work right there, bro.
Yeah.
That's easy work.
Mm-hmm. Once again, we're live right now. Facebook.com/BoomBapNation is the Inphamus Hour here on Boom Bap Nation. I'm your host, Inphamus Amadeuz. We have the legendary 112. There'll be a Zoom link in the chat where you can actually jump on the call and ask a question. I'll also be scanning the chat, looking for questions. A bunch of questions that popped up already. But I kind of want to go into a little bit of history. 2020, being from New York, I never thought that Atlanta would dominate hip hop. And we should have actually saw that before. Looking at the way the Dungeon family came, as a young person, Crisscross, we all emulated Crisscross. Mm-hmm. And now having a chance, before I actually did this interview, I went and realized that a lot of artists were actually from Atlanta during the time. You had you guys, you had Usher, you had Jagged Edge. After that, I mean, there were a lot of heavy hitters. You had Ludacris. But what was the climate in Atlanta when you guys were forming, like in 93 and 94, back in the high school days? What was the musical aspirations of Atlanta artists? And did you ever think that this would hip hop will become?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, like, and back in 93 and 94, when everything started bubbling, you had to understand, like, we kind of saw the flame already going. Like, you saw the snowball already in effect. So we had LaFace records, you know what I'm saying? We had Rowdy records out there, you know what I'm saying? Like, so we saw things at the beginning. You seeing Monica at 12 years old before y'all saw her. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were 112, we were doing talent shows. So we knew the force of the whole organized noise, the whole Dungeon family. Like, our high school talent shows, everybody you saw, even from T.I. to everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody did talent shows. Our talent shows was the concerts. So we knew exactly what was happening. We knew what was coming. Now, it was up to us as artists to push our agenda as far as possible. That's why 112, we feel blessed to be able to, be from Atlanta. Our hip hop and R&B roots were definitely raised in New York. Like, you know what I'm saying? That hip hop R&B feel, yes, the soulful R&B feel definitely came from Atlanta, Georgia, the roots of, you know what I'm saying? But the hip hop added on to the situation. We embraced those situations. So imagine how it felt to, you know what I'm saying, be the number one group in your own place, but to turn out, you know what I'm saying? We in the Madison, you in Madison Square Garden. Oh, we're out there, right there on the Strip. And everybody in New York embracing you. So it's like we had the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that we all knew, like, it was just a matter of time. You know what I'm saying? So.
June 96 is an amazing record. Only You destroyed every airwave in the country. And then, you know, you guys did a double whammy, quote unquote, because we had the original version and then we had the remix, which, you know, I mean, they're both kind of played the same way. It's almost like as a DJ, I play them back to back. And they sound like different songs. So, but you know, who produced this record? What was the concept behind the song? And then ultimately to drop the original and then the remix with Big and Mace.
If you would think I was lying if I told you that was by design. That was actually by design that we did that. You know, we did both of those records with the sole purpose of having a R&B feeling song with the original version of Only You, and then the hip hop version was, you know, for the hip hop heads or whatever, because for that sole reason that Slim was alluding to earlier, which was that the hip hop and the R&B aspect of it. So to that point, that's, you know, we actually did that by design. Stevie J produced both of those records. You know, Stevie, that was Stevie's first, the first. I don't want to say, because he did work with Jodeci, so I don't want to say that was his first breakthrough record, but that's the one that he, you know, it was infamously known, you know, for, you know, producing that record. So he produced both of those records, and we all sat and we wanted to make sure that the world understood 112 was both hip hop and R&B. You know what I'm saying? Just because we sung didn't mean that, you know, we didn't have our roots embedded in hip hop as well. So that's where the New York aspect of, you know, of that came from as well. So being under Big, being under Puff, being under Craig Mack, being under Junior Mafia, you know, everybody just being around each other, being around Lil' Kim and, you know, the whole nine or whatever, you couldn't help but to absorb that hip hop aspect of it and know what it meant, you know what I mean, to be a part of that. And, you know what I mean, it was and being an R&B group but still going to the tunnel. You know what I mean? Still looking fly, but going through the tunnel. It was crazy, you know, because we embraced all aspects.
And the tunnel was grimy. I mean,
The tunnel was grimy. We was in there. That's what I'm talking about.
Grimy.
You know, and for us, but still to go through that, man, and still respect it. That was the whole key, and that was the whole design that we wanted to be just smooth enough for the ladies, but just ghetto enough for the dudes that everybody can embrace that 112 sound or whatever. So that was all by design, man. So we did that with the sole purpose of, you know, we wanted to be known for hip hop and R&B. We wanted to be that group that ushered in the hip hop and R&B sound, because I challenge anybody, give me a group that did it the way that 112 did it prior to 112. You know what I mean? Somebody that gave you the up-tempo beats and sung over it. You know what I'm saying? Who gave you that other than 112?
And really sang over it.
Yeah,
of course.
really
exactly.
Really sang over it, yeah.
Yeah, they'll sing over it. You know what I mean? And Puff's philosophy was, you know, and his brilliance and all his genius, his philosophy was like, look, because we did up-tempo records at first, man, and we were just singing all over the place, right? And Puff said he had to pull us back and was like, yo, listen, y'all got to sing these songs as if you're in the club and you're trying to holler at somebody. You're trying to holler at a girl or something like that, right? But if you can't sing, you ain't finna be in her ear. You ain't finna do all that in her ear. You want something that you're gonna be, girl, I want to be with you. No. So something smooth, you know what I'm saying? Some smooth shit that everybody can, even if you're drunk, you can still sing that. You know what I mean? And the girl get what it is. Like everybody can't sing, like, you know what I mean? So we had to simplify it and make it into, you know, make it into a place where anybody could sing along to these songs. If you get the masses singing along to the song, then you got children singing along to it. You got old people singing along to it. You got your demographic singing along to it. You got white people singing along to it. You got all these different demographics singing along to your music. And that's when it hit for us. That's when when the light, you know, the light bulb moment happened for us. And that's when the whole hip hop and R&B aspect of it came into play. So that's the reason why we was like, yo, let's give us an R&B version of Only You, but then give them a hip hop version of Only You as well. So that way we're satisfying, you know, everybody, you know, that is fans of 112. So that's how that all came about.
Slim, not to go off topic too much, but we mentioned the tunnel, and the tunnel was a very aggressive club. What was the difference between Atlanta clubs and New York clubs at this time? I mean, 96, the climate is ridiculous. And we've heard some legendary stories in both Atlanta and in New York. But just if you could kind of sum up for the younger audience, just for, you know, old time's sake, what would you say the main difference between Atlanta venues and the great state of New York venues?
Now, I'm going to tell you, I mean,
I got a story for him too, bro. Like, I'm going to let you do a shot, but I got a story for that too. Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you have a story. I just want to just let people know like the whole climate of, you know what I'm saying, like how the clubs were.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it wasn't too much different. Like, yo, like the tunnel to New York, the reason why 112 felt comfortable is because, you know what I'm saying, we had the 559s. You see what I'm saying? Like we had those clubs where, you know what I'm saying, it's grimy. You come to the hood, you know exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? And we're from Cleveland Avenue. So if we're going to break a record, we're going to start from our hood first and then work our way to the top. Now, of course, you know, y'all have, you know what I'm saying? You're going to go to certain spots where, you know, you got the fly clubs. You know what I'm saying? New York, you already know what that is. You know what I'm saying? You go to the Soho district, you go to those clubs, you know what that's about. You know what I'm saying? Just like us going to Buckhead. You know what I'm saying? Now, 112, the infamous club that we were named, you know what I'm saying? That's where we got our name from. It was a combination of them all. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so it's like in the middle, yeah.
So it was a little bit of everything. So it's like, yo, you're going to have the Dungeon family invade that bad boy, and you know what I'm saying? You have 112 up in that bad boy. Matter of fact, Madonna going to come up in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it's just one of those type of situations. So it wasn't too much different. And you know what I'm saying? Like, the only difference was at the time, South music sound like South music. So we had our own music. Like, so y'all could be popping in New York, but we had our own music. Everything that was popping in the South was played there. But it was like that in New York. Shoot, we didn't hardly hear no South music that was on Hot 97 at the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We go to the club, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like that until when we start coming out. Then you start seeing the infiltration of all the joints. Matter of fact, West Coast music wasn't being played on Hot 97. Not like that. No. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of wild. But you know what I'm saying? But I think that we felt like we.
Did we lose him?
Yeah.
Shy.
Slim, we lost you.
Phone, Shy.
Slim, we lost you.
We can't hear you.
Unmute your phone, Shy.
Figure out how 112 we're gonna rock.
Yeah, there he is. There he is. Once again, we're live. Boom Bap Nation, live in Interactive Series. I'm your host, Infamous Amadeuz. We lost some audio with Slim. There'll actually be a link if you want to jump in the chat. I think one or two fans tried to jump in the chat, but they couldn't actually come in. And of course, you can listen to this on my FM radio show, multiple FM stations across the country. Mike, I don't know if you're still here. Slim, can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, you're still here. So, you know, and also during this time, I mean, heavy drama during this time, obviously. You know, how did 112 stay out of the drama? You know, because it kind of felt like it was just one side against another side. It pertained to hip hop, but we had some R&B factions. How did 112 just stay neutral and just focus on the music in such a heavy environment?
Man, that's a great question. Honestly, man, that just came from our backgrounds, man. I think one of the things that was told to us as a deterrent or a negative for us was because we didn't do a lot of, you know, being out in the clubs, being, you know, just being very demonstrative, being out or whatever. We was all about the music. You know what I mean? Like, we felt like the music was going to make us superstars. We felt like our music and our resume was going to make us, you know, the R&B stars that, you know, we eventually, you know, the Most High eventually allowed us to become. So we didn't see the whenever Puff would go out and we were like, nah, we good. You know what I mean? Because, you know, unless we have to go out, unless it's an event where, you know, there's going to be a lot of paparazzi and whatever, and they taking pictures of things of this nature, whatever. We just didn't see because we didn't live that life. You know what I mean? Like we would perform, get on a plane, go back home. That was it. You know what I mean? And so we didn't really live that superstar lifestyle that came along with it. Now, some would say that we missed out on some opportunities because we weren't out and because we weren't visible. But, you know, we were willing to, you know, accept that because we knew what was true to our hearts was, you know, just the music and us being one of the greatest R&B groups that ever did it. That was our goal, you know what I mean? And if that meant for us to only do it through music, then so be it. But we weren't going to live our lives being something that we weren't, you know what I mean? Which was trying to be, you know, just out in the public eye, just being seen all the damn time, getting on people's nerves and stuff, man. It's like we just didn't see the advantages of doing that. Like, no, I take that back. We did see the advantages. However, we didn't feel like that was for us. That was the move that was for us or whatever, man. We just weren't them dudes. We never those dudes. That's why we got that good boy or bad, that good guy, the good guy is a bad boy kind of, moniker or whatever. And, we let everybody know, it's like, man, look, we from one of the grimiest hoods in Atlanta. You know what I mean? It was just the foundation that we were brought up on with our, family being the foundation and, all of that thing, man. It's like we just saw life differently, man, and being in clubs all night and, being seen by, we liked our privacy. We liked being human when the cameras went around, if you will. So that's why we was able to stay out of that stuff, man. And we're not, we aren't fire starters either, man. Like, hey, listen, I mean, who don't like 112? You know what I mean? Like, and even if you did, God go with you. I mean, so what? Like, okay.
Guys, when you guys exploded on the scene, obviously with the Only You record, and we had a couple other joined to this project. I believe Cupid was on there. Come and See Me, I believe, was on there as well. And then we had the I'll Be Missing You record, and we spoke previously, I think a little bit before we got on air, about the emotional aspect. Coming into this record, and this was the first hip hop record to go #1. Obviously, what was the emotion behind this record? Obviously, we lost Big, but it kind of felt like it meant a little more than that.
Yeah, well, we're definitely a family. So what you all felt was like real raw emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like when we came from Atlanta, Big and Faith were like they accepted us like family. Day one. You know what I'm saying? So we were with them all the time. So you know what I'm saying? So to be around somebody and you know what I'm saying, to grow with them, to watch them grow, and you know what I'm saying, and it's like everybody's rooting for each other, and then in the midst of us, everybody trying to get there and watching him get there, and to see him leave so early was like crazy. So after about 2 or 3 months of just trying to figure what we gonna do, when we all got back together, it was like, yo, we got to get there. We got to hit this right. We got to hit this. You know what I'm saying? We got to let the world know exactly where we stand with it. So when you heard the I'll Be Missing You, feel like it was just like Big. It was just like what Big would want. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you pay attention to how Big's whole demeanor, the whole Bad Boy label was built off of his demeanor. If you ask me, you know what I'm saying? It was like, so everything had to be big. Anything that we did had to be big. Big, his spirit was depth and on everything. So I'll Be Missing You. That's no accident. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, what you felt with that was raw emotion, you know what I'm saying? And what the way it was supposed to come off.
Yeah. One of the things that I appreciated, I was at high school during this time, and one of the things that I appreciated about Big, it was his subliminal promoting, in a sense, where, he would consistently throw 112 in rhymes, whether it was, this guy was here, is 112 and this. So obviously we lost Big, and then now we have this second project. And then the marketing was different because Lil Zane was on the Anywhere record. But what was the direction of the second project? And was there any pressure from an artistic perspective to perform the same way you guys did on the first one? And you obviously did, but just from the creation perspective, did you guys have any pressure on you?
Yeah, man, we experienced a ton of pressure for that second, because what we affectionately called in the music industry is called the sophomore jinx.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have no expectations on that first album. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, man, whatever the hell happens, bro, that's it. You know what I mean? So, and then we go double platinum on that first album, and it's like, oh shit, we gotta, you know what I mean? We gotta raise the bar on this, man. So yeah, the pressure came in, man. It was a ton of pressure, in a subliminal way. You know what I mean? It's like, hey man, what y'all gonna do? And it was just all of that stuff. It wasn't really directly, towards us or whatever. Like nobody was saying you got to do this because, the success from the first album, but it was always implied that the second album, we got a standard, baby. We always go to the top, baby. It was just that mentality. So you can call it, indoctrination, if you will. But that's what we definitely felt like, but definitely pressure. definitely pressure, man. And honestly, the first single wasn't doing as well as we needed it to when it first came out, man. And, you know, that's just me being honest and being real with it.
Was that the record with Lil Zane or the one with Mace?
That's the one with Mace. That was Love Me.
Yeah.
Love Me was a cool record. It was, but I didn't feel like that was the song that should have been the first.
It still went platinum, that Prince.
I mean, it did, but still, you know what I mean? It was like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah, I get it. Though.
Days, being on the stages, man, and we had to, you know, take.
You got to make it work.
Yeah. It went platinum. I think it went platinum off of the love of, you know, people and the residual and the momentum that 112 still had from that first album and stuff, man. But I personally felt like Anywhere should have been the first single. And I believe we wouldn't have had any pressure whatsoever. But because Love Me didn't perform as well as we needed it to, you know, that's when we started feeling that, hey, man, so what y'all gonna do? And, you know, this, that, and the third. And then when Anywhere came out, that's when that's when all the pressure, quote unquote, started to subside a little bit, man. And, you know, everybody had a sigh of relief. And we had told everybody to relax anyway. Like, we had it. We knew what we were trying to do. You know, but when you have success, people want to, you know, jump in and give their 2 cents and all this other stuff when we already knew what we was going to do. We already knew that we was going to go, at the very least, we were going to go platinum. You know what I mean? But then Anywhere took off the way that it did. And then we had Your Letter and Love You Like I Did. And, man, it's like it couldn't be denied at that point, man. So, yeah, but it definitely had pressure, you know, in the beginning. But I think it was all to the good because it motivated us to, you know, go harder.
Yeah. And then obviously, I mean, during this time we didn't have social media, but we had a pretty large gap between, you know, the second album and the third album, which was part 3. There was literally, I think, about 3 years. But at this time you guys were on tour with Whitney Houston, is that correct?
Yeah, Vince.
Did I go out?
Nah, we're here.
Yeah, that's the producer talking. I think he's talking to someone trying to get in. I was asking, you know, we had this 3-year gap between the second album and the third album, which was titled Part 3. Now, obviously, we didn't have social media, so fans would have not known that you were on tour with Whitney Houston and that. But in all honesty, you know, you spoke about the momentum that you guys had on the record, and then you guys came out the gate swinging, Peaches and Cream. I mean, you know, the It's Over Now record, which already had a lot of momentum just off the Mobb Deep aspect that they sampled that in a sense. But why was there a 3-year gap besides the tour in between creating the albums?
Well, it was because it was just exactly what you just said there. You know, it was a little bit because we were touring. And, you know, we never went home. Like, even from the first album, you know what I'm saying? Like, we dropped the first album, we were right off the gate. We were on tour with the Isley Brothers. Yeah. And then, you know what I'm saying? Then it went on to, you know what I'm saying, Keith Sweat, which turned into a Bone Thugs tour. But, and then, you know what I'm saying? And yes, then Whitney Houston, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's like we were on tour. And while we were on tour, we're listening to the evolution of like how music was changing. Like, so, you know, like listening, being in the clubs, listening to what's going on, staying in touch with our DJs. You know what I'm saying? Because the DJs with us, we never kept that a secret. DJs make the world go round. So we knew like, yo, if we're going to make any type of mark or make any move, you just ask the DJ. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, okay, what's the climate? So when we saw where everybody was going, you know what I'm saying? 112 said, you know what? Hey, man, I think one thing we do need to do is to let people understand that we're writing and producing these records. Okay? One, you know.
Oh, so you guys are writing yourselves. There's not.
We're writing and producing the records. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we were doing it on the first and second album, but that wasn't being highlighted. It was like Bad Boys 112. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And we had a real chip on our shoulder. One, we wanted people to understand, respect the fact that we were writing and producing our own records. 2, that we can stand on our own. And then 3, that we were actual performers. Now, you go on tour with people like the Isley Brothers and, you know what I'm saying, Whitney Houston. Like, what you start understanding is like, they perform. They have other entities. They're not just sitting in front of you and just singing. There's other things that's going on. We were on tour with New Edition. That's exactly what we saw. So it's like, okay, how do we mix all of those situations all in together? And it was just like what Mike said. And Mike is making me remember the energy. You see how he's talking? Yeah. Like he was like, you know what I'm saying? With Mike's personality was never, you know what I'm saying? You can't be complacent around him. You know what I'm saying? Our record, Cupid went triple platinum with just a single.
Just a single.
Mike wasn't happy. You got the first single, it goes platinum.
Well, he's
not happy, you know what I'm saying? And I understand, and I get it. So then we had to, thank God Anywhere came out, because I ain't trying to get cussed out by my brother, you know what I'm saying? So on this third album, it was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember the conversations, it was like, yo, man, what we got to do to start getting some respect around here? Yo, the first single out the gate got to be right. What we got to do? So at that time, you know what I'm saying? I know I was like more into hip hop hard, you know what I'm saying? So we were like, man, we need to embrace hip hop even more, you know what I'm saying? Like how we're doing the 80s records. Yeah, we doing that, but we need to embrace the hip hop. You know, remember when we be in New York club and it rattles, you know what I'm saying? Like you could see the crowd move with the beat. The beat is alive, you know what I'm saying? So we came out the box where it's over now. And when we got that first number one joint, here we go. Now you jumping out with Peaches and Cream. Here we go. You know what I'm saying? We wanted that West Coast feel. We picked that joint, you know what I'm saying? Big shouts out to Mario Winans for sending us that track. You know what I'm saying? And then Dance With Me, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though everybody knows us, because we had a record, if we wanted to just smash them with a ballad, we would have just smashed them with Player. We had it. Live instruments, soulful singing. It was the people's champ of a song. You know what I'm saying? But we came out with Dance With Me, and it went an international smash. You see what I'm saying? So it was a blessing, and that's what we wanted to do. That third album, period.
And that was the right move because music was changing at that time. Obviously, we had this super up-tempo sound coming out of Atlanta and, of course, New York. We had G-Unit emerging at this time. Super random question. You guys toured with Whitney and Janet. Who's better? Or who is, you know, who would you say would have an advantage or disadvantage when it comes to touring?
Janet is an overall better performer. Whitney was a better singer. You know, hands down.
Simple.
Like, forget about it.
Yeah.
Whitney epitomized singing, and Janet just epitomized. I mean, hell, her brother was Michael Jackson, for Christ's sake. You know,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you know, to be clear, Janet was the better performer overall, but Whitney was the better singer, hands down.
Yeah. We're live right now, facebook.com/BoomBapNation. I'm your host, the infamous Amadeuz. It's the Inphamus Hour. I have the legendary 112. We've covered everything from New York clubs, Atlanta clubs, touring, singles. And one of the things that people have been saying in the chat, they've been talking about this Kanye West like contract situation. He's been posting his contract, and he's just been, you know, talking about owning your own masters. And from the third to the fourth album, you guys switched labels. How difficult is that process? Going from one label to another label, and then you have residuals, you have this and that, just, you know, without getting too much into it, you know, how difficult was it? Because we kind of missed a few years of you guys before we got to the fifth album where you guys came back swinging again.
Right. Yeah. That fourth album, actually to, you know, be very clear, we did not want to leave Bad Boy.
Okay.
And the reason why we left is because contractually we wanted to get out of the production deal that we were signed to through Bad Boy. And we just could not get it, you know, couldn't get it done. I mean, like, you would have to ask Puff why, you know, he couldn't get it done on his end, but we really wanted to stay on the label, but we wanted to be out of that production deal because that production deal was taking a shitload of money for, you know, out of our pockets. You know what I mean? So we were like, bro, it's unnecessary. We're producing all the records. We're writing all the records. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need this production deal anymore. We want to stay on Bad Boy. We do. And it just never worked out. So all the while, Def Jam was, you know, they was, you know, on, I mean, as far as I can speak on it, Def Jam was like basically letting us know, like, yo, if y'all want to be independent, be your own entity, want this independence, and y'all been telling us that this whole Part 3 album, you want your independence, you want to you've been bucking on everything because you want everybody to know that you're the writers, you're the producers, you're the captains of your own ships. So over here at Def Jam, you can do that. So and we got courted by other labels as well, but at the end of the day, we felt like Def Jam gave us the best option outside of Bad Boy, because it still gave us that hip hop edge that we was looking for as well. As far as the label, we loved Def Jam's hustle. It felt like Bad Boy's hustle. You know what I mean? So it was just something that it felt like it was the right move for us, man. And unfortunately, we didn't deliver the type of record that I felt like we should have with us moving over to Def Jam as well. I mean, it's a lot of ancillary things that were going on as well. But overall, I just felt like, that was, and a lot of people are like, well, because they left, and they wasn't under Puff anymore, man, that, they lost that mojo on that fourth album. And that wasn't the case. Did we lose a little direction in that? Yeah, we lost a little direction, you know what I mean? But as far as that goes, but we understood where the problems lie, and we addressed them, and we solved that issue. So when we did the Pleasure and Pain album, it was, we were back to where we were, you know what I mean? But, we had, it was some issues, man. But, I can say that, that I'm not mad at the decision. However, I really wish that we could have worked it out with Puff and stayed over at Bad Boy. I mean, energy wise, I'm just one of them type dudes. I just believe in, where you started is where you should finish. However, if
you guys had chemistry over there.
Yeah, we had chemistry. We were family. Like, they understood us, we understood them. And we really wish that, that could have been worked out, but, it didn't work out. However, what it did is made us better businessmen, you know what I mean? And that's something that we wasn't getting over at Bad Boy. We was being coddled and, babied over, at Bad Boy and stuff, because we were their babies, it was like we were teenagers when we first signed to them and stuff. And now we were grown men, looking, asking for these dudes to, allow us to become better businessmen. Well, that was the problem, because we was asking instead of demanding. You know what I mean? So, that's a whole nother story in and of itself, man. But once we started to, then it was like, oh, 112, they losing their way and they lose. No, we were just trying to get what anybody else in our position who had the resume that we had, we just wanted to reap the same benefits, not more, but the same benefits that somebody in our position who wasn't signed to a production deal that was taking 40% of what it is that you was making. We wanted to, see what it felt like outside of that.
Yeah. There was an unsigned artist in the chat who asked what exactly is a production deal and what exactly are masters and how important is it to own them?
Oh, well, we can break this down. A production deal is a situation where this particular organization, they are able to bring music writers to the artists. They provide all types of services. And in our case, well, back in the 90s, it was they were also able to get you a deal. Mm-hmm. And you had so many amount of days or a month, I would say months, like 2 or 3 months to get the music done and then actually get you a deal. And if not, then you're done, right? So that's what a production deal. And then with that being said, of course, they're not doing that for free. You know what I'm saying? Like they have their what they expect out of the situation, right? Yeah. So masters is basically the song. Like what you is your work. It's your work. Like, you have, like you're not just singing or rapping on a song. You know what I'm saying? Like you're actually writing or producing on a record, and you want your ownership of that record. You know what I'm saying? And the artists of today are much more independent, way more independent artists than we were. Because back in the day, you had labels making artists into who they were, putting records together, putting records on them, making them look a certain kind of a way, put them in situations and, changing them into superstars. The artists today, that's not happening. They're already coming in with, they already have their sound, they have everything. They already have the digital output, every outlet's already together. And it's like, they put themselves out there and then it's like, either they're saying, hey, I sold this amount of records, now I want you to pay me, or no, thank you, but no, thank you. I can do this all by myself. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, like, you know, masters, you know, it's very important that you own everything that you are about yourself. Your name, your government name, your name as far as who you're coming out and you're putting yourself to the world. You know what I'm saying? Just like any other business, that's you should own that. And the product, your work, you know what I'm saying? So you can reap the benefits of your own, you know what I'm saying? You working and putting it together, somebody else should not be getting more money off of your work than you.
Now, so hypothetically speaking, when it comes to streaming, let's just say if you don't own your masters, so that would still go in the same deal then. Let's say if you created a record in 1989 and, you know, this guy owned, you know, 48% of your masters in 1989. Do they still get to this day 48% of whatever the streaming is?
Yeah, they get, well, that's what's called mechanical royalties. You know what I mean? And so you have your royalties and you have your mechanical royalties, and that's actually for a performance. So if you hear your song on the radio, you hear your song on a television show, a commercial, anything, you get residuals from that, you know, or if you get sponsored by somebody and they use your music or whatever, like you get what's called, you know, a mechanical royalty for that. But yeah, they absolutely, if your contract is built in such a way, they absolutely will get that, because they told us a long time ago, man, it ain't who wrote the song, it's who owns it. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that's, you know what I'm saying? That's really, you know, really what that, you know, what it's all about. And I know a lot of cats have come to me, younger cats have come to me and asked me, well, why would y'all sign away something like your masters or whatever? See, at the time when we came into the game, it was no other option. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to really explain, you know, the younger generation, like you
3 album deals, and then I've heard this many times.
You know what I'm saying? Then they
get 3 album deals. That's a great deal.
Almost every person on here has told me about the 3 album deal, and then I guess on the 4th album you were guaranteed a certain amount of money. I don't know. I wasn't around that time, but
our deal was 7 years or 7 albums.
7 years.
Whichever came first, 7 years or 7 albums, whichever came.
Hey, man.
So,
yo, your man's there like 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years.
He's there like
we did a bid over there, man. But that's but basically we came in a time, man, where there was no independent artist. You know what I mean? If you was an independent artist, it's just like you being, you know, independent on a presidential ballot. You're not really being considered. You know what I mean? So if you're an independent artist at that time, it was almost unheard of for you to be as successful as an artist who had a major behind it. You know what I mean? And so, like Slim said, you're not going to be signed to a major, and they give you all of this money. They give you artists and repertoire, A&R. They give you artist development. They find the producers for you. They find writers for you, and they not reap the benefits of it. You know, it was almost a standard practice, which is what Kanye is referring to. Like those artists back in the day, it was standard practice for the record labels to take the masters. So it wasn't even an expectation, you know, for you to hold on.
It's regular. It's just like it's regular.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was standard procedure. You know what I'm saying? It was just standard procedure for a record label to take your masters, because that's just what it was. Hey, either we take your masters, bro, or you go back to Atlanta and go work at Checkers or something like that. I mean,
back to the hood you go.
Yeah. So when you're given those options, you can be great. And go in 7 years, I can, you know, renegotiate with these dudes or possibly get, you know. But the crazy thing about it is, the more successful you are, the harder it is to get rid of to get that masters from, you know, set record labels and stuff, man. Like, you know, because they're like, you know, your shit is worth millions. I'm not gonna do that. You know
Multi-millions.
Yeah, you were selling that for real back then. You know what I'm saying?
But that was the mind frame. That was the totality of the music industry, you know, which is what Kanye is referring to. Like, it was standard practice for you to sign your life away. Well, like, it was no joke when you like, man, you signing your life away. You were signing away part of your who you were as an artist. And that masters, those masters was something incredible, bro. Like, you know, it's like people who own their masters right now, who are successful, they don't have to put out anything else other in life again, man.
Yeah, like Michael Jackson's of the world, the Princes of the world, you know, people like that own your stuff.
Your catalog, bro. Like, you eating off of your catalog for the, you know, and artists like a 112 could do that. You know what I'm saying? If we owned all our masters and stuff, man.
Yeah.
So that's what Ye was referring to, man. So I know a lot of young artists are like, well, why would y'all give up that? Bro, we didn't have, it's called a Hobson's choice, which means there is no choice. Mm-hmm. Either you sign this contract or you stayed your ass in Atlanta. Simple.
Mm-hmm. You know, on that note, fellas, how important are the Master P's and the babies of the world, and even Jay-Z to a certain extent? Even though Jay-Z didn't really do it like how they did it. I mean, they really did it super independent. You know, how important are these guys to hip hop then and now?
Oh my God. Hey man, it was necessary. Goodness gracious, man. And let's not forget the Bay Area E40s and the big boy Jay Prince out there, and you know what I'm saying, in Texas. Yo, hey man, like these guys were necessary. These dudes were the innovators of what you see right now. Mm-hmm. So now, like when you and I'm gonna tell you, all of the artists that are doing it, they're doing it big or whatever. Please do your history. You know what I'm saying, and understand. You know what I'm saying. Give. You know what I'm saying. Just give credit where that is, because without these guys really putting their nuts on the line, doing it in that type of way, in that type of with that type of level, on that type of level, it would have never happened. People would, if you literally would have been saying something, they would have been like, no, you know what I mean? But the fact, because that was the Master P's, or you know what I'm saying, the Babies and Slims, or the E40s, or Jay Prince's, I mean, now it's easy to have what you call a guideline. You know what I'm saying? Here's the outline of how you should do it. You know what I'm saying? And what it's supposed to look like when you do it right.
Mm-hmm. Fellas, you know, I really put a round of applause for you guys. I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to us. Very informative. This might be the best interview we've done here, Inphamus Hour, Boom Bap Nation. I want to talk about some of the new stuff. And by the way, my favorite 112 record, as you already know. And whoever put Foxy Brown on that record, gunshots for them.
That's crazy.
Foxy she was hot.
She snapped. Big shots out to Jay-Z with that one too. And Foxy for, you know what I'm saying, that's our sister right there. Yo, that was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, once again, there is an equation with 112. We call ourselves, you know what I'm saying, as far as groups are concerned, the kings of hip hop and R&B. Why? Because we consistently brought it just like that. You're going to get both sides of the situation where the track is hard. We're going to work. We've worked with every hip hop artist in any type of, you know what I'm saying, feel it was, whether they're grimy street like, you know what I'm saying, Mob Deeps, you know what I'm saying, to the pop joint, you know what I'm saying, to the pop rappers, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've worked with everybody, didn't matter. North, east, south, or west, we worked with them all. And we still have the love records, and everybody are able to relate. We brought everybody into our world. We never changed it. And you know what I'm saying? So big shots out to that.
Slim, to piggyback off that, obviously you guys had solo projects as well, and your project in particular was super commercial. You had the record with Freeway and Kiss, and we had like this whole Good Lovin', and we had a bunch of dope records. Was it difficult to transition into a solo setting as opposed to being in a group? Because obviously the workload is shared. You know, when you're by yourself, is some similarities and differences between the two?
Well, at first, I think that the transition happened while I was in the studio. Because, when 2008 happened, I was like listening to the artists that were coming out, and backgrounds and stuff like that wasn't really prevalent like that. Like, it wasn't like you didn't have to put harmonies on everything or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was kind of like going into what we're seeing right now. You know what I'm saying? So what I didn't want, the great thing about, you know what I'm saying, being a part of a entity like 112 is the fact that, I didn't have to reintroduce myself. I was blessed to have the voice that I have, you know what I'm saying, and the brand with 112. You know what I'm saying? So all I had to do was just find my own niche. So I would say the rappers and stuff was organic. Like, I don't think I even paid a rapper to be on my stuff. not at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, anybody that I worked with was like, I had to really like them. Ryan Leslie, I always wanted to work with him. He's a genius. You know what I'm saying? Both of us have a lot in common. You know what I'm saying? So I reached out for him on my birthday. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? About to roll up to New York. Hey, we about to record. We're going to pop something right now. You know what I'm saying? SoFly, went to Orlando, met up with the guys, Odds and Ends. Now, I have to give these boys, Jay and Nino, I have to give them the credit because they changed my ear, the way I listen to music. They were the ones that introduced me. Like when I was still into the 112 sound, and they introduced me to the world of, that's the first time I heard of Ty Dolla. And you know what I'm saying? And like he was working on his stuff back then.
Wow.
I know people were like, wow, for real? Yes, Ty Dolla was working on his stuff back then. You know what I'm saying? And to actually then get a chance to meet him and talk to him and listen to the music. And, you know, Jay and Nino made me listen to like The Weeknd when he first came out, how raw he was, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, I started listening to those records and it was like, okay, I got a sound. I have an advantage of being from 112. Okay, I need this sound. And then that's where Odds and Ends came with that bass. And you know what I'm saying? It was like, I was always in the bass line.
Is that an actual beatbox? Is someone actually beatboxing?
Yeah. Like it was but I think it was, you know what's crazy? Man, that beat was supposed to went to, who was that rapper? Oh my God, it's gonna kill me. Oh my God. He's really raw. Like it was supposed to went to him. And you know, for me, love picking hip hop beats and writing R&B records over them. So, you know what I'm saying? So the beatbox actually, you know what I'm saying? That was Young Jock actually beatboxing when I had approached him, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? But the bass line was, the record was, it was for Spitter. It was for Spitter. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it was supposed to go to him, but you know what I'm saying? But I had got the beat. And yeah, I mean, that was an amazing situation.
That was Mike. Was there any instrumental that you guys passed on that became a hit record? Like anything in the catalog that was presented to you that could have been a 112 record, but ended up being somebody else's record because you guys passed on it?
Dru Hill's In My Bed.
Yeah.
Wow. We actually heard that song in 1994. Yeah, like the dude that wrote the song, he came to it. We was in Atlanta. It was us, the manager, and the dude that actually wrote the song, man. And he pulled out his guitar. It didn't have the whole but he got this feeling, and I just came to. Man, as soon as we heard it, it's like, yo, they tried to give us that record like 3 years ago. You know what I mean? Like so. And they wrote the song, like dude wrote the song back in 94, 95. So yeah, that was the one record that we were like, damn, we wish we, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it went to Dru Hill and of course they destroyed it. You know what I mean? They did their thing on that, man, and just absolutely changed the game with that record.
Yeah.
But yeah, we actually had that record before they did.
Once again, we're live here on the Inphamus Hour. I'm your host, the Inphamus Amadeuz. 112 is here in the building. Listen to the Inphamus Hour here on Facebook every Thursday at 9 p.m. Of course, the FM radio show, multiple platforms. Shout out to my man, Will Come Clean. He's in the chat, hanging around and talking. So, guys, we have this new body of work that is out now. We just dropped a project in September, which, you know, about a few weeks ago. And what is the concept of this project? We have a couple videos that are floating around. And what do you want the fans to know about 112?
You got it, Prince. You want?
Okay. Well, yeah, man. This new EP is called 112 Forever, Slim and Mike, and it's basically it was our fans that motivated us to do this EP because you know we were cool touring off of you know the old material, the old stuff. We got a hellified resume.
Yeah, y'all chilling.
You know who said we were good? You know what I mean? But the fan base was like, you know, with us being a duo now, and a lot of people were asking, like, okay, well, can y'all give us some new music? Because a lot of people still didn't believe that we were capable of putting together an album, you know, with just the two of us and stuff, man. So it was, and once that challenge, you know, was presented to Slim and myself, we said, you know what, bro? I think it's time for us to do something to let the world know that, you know, that we can still do this, man. Like, you know, it in addition to proving it to the world, we wanted to prove it to ourselves that, it was like we had the ability to make this, this happen, with us being a duo, man. So it was really, man, and what we spoke about earlier about just being relevant and staying relevant in the game. And, we just wanted to make sure that the world knew that we hadn't gone anywhere and that you could still get a great product, a great body of work from us. You know what I mean? So we put our heart and soul into this product, because most times when you hear EP, it's artists having some records that they just mailed in or whatever. It's some throwaway records that didn't make the album, or, some BS or whatever that they didn't really like or whatever, just putting it out for the sake of putting it out. That's not 112's move. You know what I mean? That's not what we believe in. And so we wanted to make sure that this EP sounded like an album. You know what I mean? So that's why we went hard. And we started a year ago, but we kind of tapered off because we started touring again. And, and the records that we had initially wasn't the type of sound that we were looking for. It was too far left. It was like we were trying to be something that we weren't. And, we needed to go back to the basics. And once we figured that out, that's when we were able to put this body of work together, 112 Forever Slim and Mike. So for those that don't have it, it's on all digital platforms right now. When I tell you, it is reminiscent of the old 112 sound that you're accustomed to. It's not hyperbole. I'm not lying to you guys at all. For the sake of people trying to go get it, whatever. We've heard nothing but positive feedback from this from everybody that has heard the records. Man, they absolutely love it, man. And we're just really excited, and we're doing everything that we possibly can to promote this record, because what we don't want to do is have this record fall by the wayside because we can't go out and promote it like we really want to and how we really need to.
COVID and things like that.
COVID came in 2020, just being 2020. Yeah, so we can't really, promote like we want to, man. But, that's why we're doing everything that we possibly can with these videos. We shot 3 videos in 3 days, to show y'all how dedicated we were. And this is all our money. This is all us. This is all
independent. Yeah.
Straight up.
So we wanted to show the world how serious we were about putting this project together, man. So again, 112 Forever Slim and Mike. It's an awesome body of work. And I don't really say that about our project. Slim already alluded to the fact, man, that I'm a hard ass when it comes to, pretty much everything, man. And whenever I listen to old music, I'm like, man, we could have did that better. We could have did this better. We could have did. And so, but listening to this body of work, man, like, I can't really say that about this body of work right now, man. I really love this project. I love our delivery. I love the way that the subject matter came about. It's just an awesome project, man. So I would really encourage everybody, if you really love R&B, to go check out that 112 Forever Slim and Mike. Yeah.
Final 2 questions, fellas, before we get out of here. Just for the fans that are listening right now. So the new group with you two is called 112 Forever, correct? So that's how they would search it?
No, it's 112.
It's 112. It's still 112.
Yeah, the name of the EP is Forever.
Okay, because they were kind of asking. When it's all said and done, though, we're in the year 2020. I mean, you guys debuted in 96, 97, and we're talking about 25 some odd years, approaching 30 years, being relevant, still having a record. I can walk at any club right now, play Only You. I could play, Peaches and Cream, any club. I played it today on the radio. It sounded like it just came out yesterday. When it's all said and done, though, what do you want the people to remember and to respect about 112?
Well, I think that what we essentially what we want is that when you talk about the greatest groups in our era, you cannot mention that subject without saying 112. Period. And we did it our way. We wanted to master every way possible, not just the singing, but the writing, the producing, collaborations, any kind of way you want to put it. Nobody has done it like 112. Nobody. And I think that, when we were younger, we pretty much let our catalog do the talking or whatever. And because we were very quiet while other groups were being, other people were being more boisterous, I think now that we've gotten to this point and we've gotten to a plateau where, now we can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because we actually have the accolades to back it up. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what we want. We just want everybody to understand that 112, we did it our way. We came from humble beginnings. When we traveled the world, we sat here on a dream, and regardless of what obstacle we had, if you think about it, 112, we had nothing easy, nothing. I don't think there's no group that had R&B group that's had it hard like we have. Like Lou, we've lost people that were very close to us that would have shut other people down, labels down. You know what I'm saying? When people turned their backs on us multiple times, you know what I'm saying? We still kept going. We still maintained success. Now we have another hurdle. What, 2 guys dip? So what? We're still going. And we want everybody to understand that, guess what? The only person that can stop you is you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what 112, that's what we represent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Walk of Fame.
No man bigger than the brand. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. We work together for that brand. And when we're gone 50, 100 years from now, when the conversation is 112 is definitely in that conversation.
And finally, the last question, what do you have to say to the fans who, you know, I argue with fans all the time. They complain about music, complain about this, but I'm like, listen, your artists are still making music. I mean, period. This is the whole point of this Inphamus Hour. This whole point of Boom Bap Nation is to bring to light, you know, we, in the past few weeks, I had Capadonna, he just dropped the album. I had Busy Bone, he dropped an album. Fredro Starr, he was here, he dropped the album. Cool G Rap, top 5 MCs of all time, he dropped the album. And the fans are in the chat like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
What is the message to the fans who are still like kind of like stuck in the 90s? Like, it's like, guys, you got to follow your artist now.
Right. And that's a great question, man. And we say this all the time. The reason why we did an EP and not an album is because we did not want to put that much effort into a project without, you know, the fans supporting it. And it's unbelievable. And I'm going to challenge our fan base on this, man. You know, when I say what I say, a lot of y'all ain't going to like it, but ask me if I give a damn. So basically, if you want your artist to continue to give you music, you have got to not just assume that everything is all right and they're millionaires and they're fine and they don't need support. Just like with this vote that's coming up in November, and you saying, well, if I buy this CD, you know, if I don't buy this CD, they fine or whatever, this, that, and the third. Even with the, you know, like even with the mindset of like that when we were voting, if you feel like that your vote doesn't count, then the Republicans are going to win. So, but just like with R&B and stuff, if you feel like, well, they fine, they don't need my CD, they don't need my money for that CD, and then it's like it's the same principle is behind it. So what I'm saying to you is, everybody that's out there, you guys have got to support your artists. You've got to go out, and I'm not saying that you got to follow whatever mood, but we have this mentality that if you're not on social media with 1 million followers, then you're not hot. And if you're not on reality TV fighting with each other and you know, being just demonstrative and just showing your ass on reality TV or anything like that, man, then you're not relevant. And if you're not relevant, then there's no reason for me to go get your music. And we have to get out of that mentality. No other genre of music has to beg their fan base to go out and support them. If Motley Crue or what's another, Aerosmith was to announce a tour right now, the shit will get sold out in 20 minutes, guaranteed. And they don't develop stadiums.
It's Country World too. Country World too.
If Sade was to hit y'all right now and say, man, I'm going on tour, it'll be sold out right in under 5 minutes. Why? Because they have that kind of fan base that supersedes this mentality that if I'm not relevant, quote unquote, right now, then like what you love us for our own music, but I'm not relevant. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so let me get this straight. I got to be relevant in today's world, but you don't want to hear no new music from me. You want to hear the old stuff. Like, it's just absolutely
like, yeah,
it's absolutely mind-boggling to me, man. It's crazy to me. Y'all love us for the old stuff, man, but you want to see what's going on new in our lives and stuff like that. It's the craziest thing, man. So what I would say, man, what I was challenged, you know, our fan base and everybody that's in R&B and hip hop and the whole nine, you know, because you mentioned a lot of hip hop artists as well, and a lot of those dudes I'm fans of, like Busy and Capadonna.
I got them here every week, and they're shocked. You know, they're literally shocked. Busy Bone has number 4. He's number 4 right now on iTunes.
That's crazy.
They were looking at us crazy.
He has an amazing album. I've heard that his album is amazing.
When I had him on here 2 weeks ago, they were looking at us like we're crazy. Busy Bone, where you been? I'm like, bro, he's been dropping albums.
Yes.
They've been out here, like, you know, and as a radio person, as a disc jockey, I take pride in doing this and telling the fans, like, guys, go stream your artists. The same way you loved them in the 90s, love them today.
Exactly. If you loved us then, you can love us right now, man. We're still, you know, the records are still the same. I guarantee you, me and Slim still sound the same. And we're just, you know, and we put this EP together because we wanted to test and see. We wanted to really test out and do the analytics and see whether or not our fan base was going to truly follow us and actually support this EP. Yeah. Now that we know that they will support the EP, now we'll do an album. We'll do a full album and stuff, man. But we needed that reassurance that our fan base was going to go out and support, because, you know, we've heard it a million times. Oh, 112 got a record out? Oh, okay, cool. I might go get it. I might not. You know what I mean? And it's but I'll go watch him perform. You know, it's the craziest thing, man. So like I said before, no other genre of music, we have to beg people to support. You know what I mean? Country artists. If Toby Keith right now was to say, man, I'm about to
go down
20 city tour, put a, and then
COVID,
and then give you a new album. A new album right on while on stage. I'm gonna play some new records from my new album that you've never heard. Now. And they're gonna buy it, you know. And it just blows my mind. We got to get out of that mentality, man, and support and let's love our icons the way they love their icons. You know what I mean? Like, and not posthumously, man. I want my flowers now. I don't want,
straight up.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want them now. So that was me and my rant. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine, and the conversation has to come up, especially with hip hop, that we have to start breaking hip hop down into genres like rock and roll. The time is now. There is no more dominant sound anymore. There's no East Coast. There's nothing. You have all these different sounds. You got drill. You got Southern. You got West Coast. You got Midwest, and hip hop needs to be broken down into genres like rock and roll. Round of applause for that.
Yes. Come on now.
I'll say something.
It's 2020.
Me and myself, man, we're getting back into the Grammy voting as well too, because, you know, one of the things that they snuck underneath us, man, it was they included hip hop and R&B into one genre. Where I remember where there was a time where and there's so many different versions of R&B. You should be able to do, like Gladys Knight just did verses. You should have classic R&B. You should have soulful R&B. You should have gospel R&B. And it should be the same way with hip hop. We have Lecrae. He's gospel. You know, we got Griselda Records. They're from Buffalo, New York. They're hardcore hip hop. You got, you know, these guys from the South, Little Baby and them. That's not trap music anymore. Trap's dead. T.I.'s done. That sound is not here anymore. They confuse it, man. Listen, this is a great conversation. Round of applause.
Man.
Mike and Slim, I super appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me on the Infamous Hour, Boom Bap Nation. These clips will be on social media, so expect a bunch of tags in the next few weeks. And finally, let's shout out this album, this EP that we have coming out, and your social media in case they want to follow you.
That's right, y'all. This is Mike and Slim. Our new EP is out right now. 112 Forever Slim and Mike. You can get it on all digital platforms. It is out right now. The new single for us is incredible. It's about a Black Lives Matter movement, how we believe in order for us to move forward, we got to do it together, and it's all for us. Please go out and support that. You can follow us on the official 112 on Instagram, the official 112 on Twitter, the 112forever.com for any merch. We got the masks, we got T-shirts, we got neck gaiters, we got, you know, pretty much whatever you need on that. And also follow us on 112 Rebirth TV on YouTube. Like and subscribe on 112 Rebirth TV. You know, so you can see all the videos, so you can see, you know, the behind the scenes, the documentaries, you know, all of this stuff, man. So, you know, and again, we appreciate y'all. Please go get that EP, 112 Forever. Slim and Mike, we love y'all. Thank y'all, 112 Forever.
112 Forever out right now. The infamous Amadeuz is the Infamous Hour here on Facebook every single Thursday at 9 p.m. Of course, listen to the Infamous Hour on FM radio. And of course, listen to me on SiriusXm. Shade 45 doing the drunk mix, nothing but throwbacks every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Classic vibes. Apologies to the fans who were trying to get on the Zoom. We were having some technical issues, but we'll have it resolved by next week. Until then, peace, blessings, and love. Make sure you rock the vote in November and stay COVID-19 free. We're out of here.
You know how to vote.